Welcome back, all 1,100 of you fellow poker junkies, to another episode. This time, you just clicked on an episode that was never supposed to exist. A while back, after Quest and I had been in this good relationship for years, Quest takes me out to a nice dinner and unexpectedly tells me, it's not you, it's me. So we break up, I can no longer hang out with Quest, but occasionally I'll just stop by to see how Quest is doing. Hey Quest, how you been? Things are normal. Oh, I'm doing great, my life's never been better. Of course, I miss Quest, and I wish that Quest would take me back. But I put on a strong face. Alright, so even though Quest and I are broken up, here's the deal. I went out to meet a friend, we had dinner, played some cards, and the session was so interesting that I kept recording hands to just study them later and all that stuff, and finally I'm like, I gotta share this with you. I can't just keep these in a phone somewhere and not share it. The session is too interesting. So though I don't have footage, we're gonna go through some of these hands. They were a lot of fun, and I think you'll enjoy them. First hand of interest in the night, I am in the small blind with 10s, and we're in a straddle pot. So we're playing 1, 3, 6. Under the gun makes it $16, which is extremely small for this game when you're on the straddle. Maybe like a normal open if you're playing 1, 3 or something. So I don't know if this was a mistake on his part. He doesn't maybe seem like the most experienced player, and so I've got that in my head as I'm making my decisions. I decided to go ahead and bump this one up to $60 in the small blind. I'm out of position, so I want to charge just a little bit more. There's some dead money. I don't necessarily want to see flops and go big with a pair of 10s, but we'll see what we can do with a maybe slightly less experienced player. So I make it $60. He does make the call, and we go to a flop, which comes down King of Clubs, Jack of Clubs, and a 4 of Hearts. So no big deal there. That flop is not scary at all. No, just kidding. There's 2 overs. It's pocket 10s. There's not really a lot of good flops. Even when you, unless you see all undercards or you flop a set, you're never really feeling great, right? So it doesn't feel great, but for my range it's good, even though for my hand it's not good. So I go ahead and continue here. I'm going to bet small. I bet $50, and I can do this with a lot of my hands. It's basically going to just make him make a decision as to if he wants to continue in this hand. And since he's newer, I think the $50 might just get it done. He thinks on it for quite a while, but decides this is not a hand that he wants to stick around in. And so we're scooping chips right away on an unfavorable board with the pocket 10. Next hand, I make an admittedly loose open here. I'm in middle position. There's 2 limps in front of me. I make it $21. Those limpers are looking to call, and Jack 9 of diamonds just really isn't strong enough to be trying to push them out. I think if I do it, I probably need to go just slightly larger on my open because they're looking to call. But I think the better play is just to fold, and so this is probably not the right open. Anyway, I make the open. We end up going 4 ways to a flop. The flop is an interesting one. Jack 9 deuce, all spades. And now one of the original limpers makes it $21. Really small bet into this pot, and I'm in a weird spot where I've got 4 players total. There's 3 spades on the board. I don't really think I should be raising with 2 pair. 2 pair is not like the nuts at all here. So I go ahead and make the call, even though it's a weird call to make and a strange bet from my opponent. He can have a lot of things here. It's possible that he has like an ace of spades or a king of spades in his drawing, but that doesn't mean that someone behind me doesn't have a better hand. So I go ahead and make the call, and we're headed to the turn. Heads up to the turn now, which is the 8 of spades. Ugh, disaster. I still don't think we should have raised there on the flop, but now we're in a pretty tough spot. Fortunately, he slows down and checks. So chances are we're no good, but we're going to get to see a free card. Maybe a jack or a 9 will show up, and then we can pile some chips in there. River is the 7 of hearts after we check back, and it goes check, check. I'm expecting to see any spade here and not be good, but we're good. Yeah, it was ace, jack, offsuit, top pair, and no spade. So we end up holding. Our 2 pair is good, and we're scooping a pot. The next hand of interest is a bluff, and it was a pretty big bluff, and I made a couple $100 off of it, but I can't share it with you. I want to. It was a fun hand, and it went really well, but I went way outside of what I would normally do with a player-specific read, and I've played with that player before. We'll probably play with them again, so I can't tell you what I saw, can't tell you why I did it, and if I just recounted the hand to you with no information as to what those tells are or what I'm doing, you would think I was out of my mind. So I'm not going to share the hand. I don't really want that player to know. but I will just tell you that I ran a big bluff, it got through, and I made some money. Alright, wish I could share it, but let's go on to the next hand. Now I get pocket sevens in the small blind, and a new player sits down at the table. It's his first hand, and he raises it up to $20. There's a call, and it gets around to me, and I have pocket sevens, I'm out of position. He's got $300 or so in his stack. I cover him, and it feels like a spot where I'm just going to make the call and try to set mine. So that's what I do. I go ahead and throw in the $20, and we end up going 4 ways to a flop. The flop is a thing of beauty. It is the ace of hearts, 10 of hearts, 7 of diamonds, so we have bottom set, and it's a perfect spot to check raise. He's got the ace high board. He's going to continue often here, so I go ahead and check it over to him. He does help us out and bets $45. It folds back around to me, and I make it $110. He's got about $235 in his stack after he makes this $45 bet, so I want all the ace kings and ace queens and all that stuff to stick around. I want them to make the call so I can jam the turn. No need to jam the turn. He'll just jam for us, so he goes ahead and shoves all the chips in. Snap call, no reason to slow play or think about this one. I throw the chip in, and he has ace king. We end up holding on the run out, and we are scooping another nice pot. All right, we're back in the small blind again, and we have another pocket pair for this hand. Now we have pocket nines, and we're at a straddled pot. There's a bunch of callers, and it gets around to me, and I know that the player in the straddle is a loose, aggressive maniac who is calling anything pre-flop. So if I make the bet here, chances are I'm getting called and just bloating the pot, and then I'm going to be out of position to multiple players. Not a spot I want to be in. So I make a very weak and passive play, and I just make the call in the small blind for $6, and we do go to the flop without having to put any more money in. We're just going to try to see if we can find a set cheaply, and oh, look, there it is! 9-5-3. We've got top set on this board. Oh, delicious. All right, we want to start building this thing up. So I bet $15 and I get 2 callers right away before it gets around to a guy who has his chip stacked like a monkey and is playing like a monkey. He goes ahead and raises to $50. Oh, beautiful spot. Now it gets around to the button who's going to make it $115 with a jam. Oh, yes. All right, so now the decision is back on me, and I bump this one up to $175. We're going to see if we can get some more money out of that original raise. Let's see what happens here. It goes back to the opponent. He thinks about it for a second and then decides to put his entire stack into the middle. Oh, this is a great session. It doesn't normally go this well, but man, what a day. He ends up having 4-6 of hearts, like I told you. Stacked his chips like a monkey, played like a monkey, and he puts all his chips at risk with an open-ender. Despite all the aggression, we're playing against that draw, which bricks out on a jack and a king, and then a set of threes. So set over set cooler with the button, and then the guy who, I guess he was just there to donate, man. He was just having fun. Oh, that was awesome. All right, now another hand that's way outside of my normal play pattern, but I'm adjusting to the table because of the way they're playing. So I'm getting a lot of limps and then calls. So I'm really trying to like make big raises and isolate when I'm in position. When I'm in the blinds or I'm out of position, I'm really not trying to put more money in unless I have a premium hand. And in this case, I have ace-10 offsuit, so I don't have a premium. I have an okay hand that does not play well multi-way, does not play well out of position, and chances are I'm getting both of those things even if I raise. So I decide to just check my option here, which again, very rare, but I'm going to go ahead and do it and just play very passive, wait for the late positions. That's where I've been making all my money, and I'm going to take advantage of like having the most information and playing with these players when I have the advantage. So I go ahead and check, and we go to this flop. The flop is 10-10-6 with 2 spades. I decide to check here. I think you could also bet and hope to get raised, but I kind of prefer the check raise option if someone will put some money in the pot. And then if they like have a flush draw, they've committed some money, they're probably calling and sticking around. At least I would hope so, and that allows me to extract more value. So that's what I choose. I go ahead and check. The cutoff helps us out by betting $15. The small blind makes the call of $15, and now I get to bump it up. So I make it 65 to go, and both players make the call. So things are developing quite nicely. The turn is the jack of diamonds. I go ahead and bet $150, and yes, I'm playing this with my hand basically exposed. I might as well flip the 10 face up on the table. Potentially, I could be getting aggressive with like a flush draw. I don't know. When you're at these stakes, I just don't tend to slow play. I tend to put the money in and see if we can get called. And of course, we don't just get called, we get jammed on. This could be a problem. I mean, there's potential that the other jack is, that the other 10 is out there with a jack or something, or the 6 is hit, but the majority of the time this is going to be like another 10 and we have the best kicker with it. Let's hope they don't have the jack. I go ahead and make the call and we get shown King 10, so we out pip him by 1, and we're scooping this pot as well. Man, things just go fantastic. I got aces several times throughout the night, other big hands, but I'm not going to report all of them since I don't have footage for you guys. Just know this session went extremely well, and that means you guys are getting paid. It was a 7-hour session. I bought in for $500, cashed out for $24.10. That means I made $1,910 in 7 hours, and that means that the following 4 supporters are each getting a payout. If you would like to get some of this money, it goes to Patreon supporters who support the channel, and I will tell you that their return on investment right now is insane. So far, the average amount paid in by a supporter is $32. The average amount paid out to those supporters, $194 per person. Hey, thanks for being here. That's going to wrap this one up. You can join in the fun, though, before you leave by clicking the subscribe button, by joining the Patreon down below, or by watching this video. Thanks for being here. Have a great week. Go crush your table, and I will talk to you next time.